Hello everyone, as I'm sure you all know by now, my name is Rose Shards, but feel free to call me Rose, Rosie, or Chloe. And first things first, I am so sorry for the lack of posts recently. I know I sort of disappeared off the face of the earth for a little while, but I was just super busy over the past few weeks. And by busy, I mean on top of events and schoolworks, I had to finish a 3-minute animation within the span of 4 weeks. It had over 1,000 frames. Yeah, not sure how exactly I pulled that one off. I'll hopefully be able to release it to you guys soon, but because it's part of a school thing, they don't want me to post it yet, but whatever. And hopefully by 2020, I'll be able to go back to regularly releasing content for you guys. I do definitely have a lot of stuff planned that you guys should be excited for. Well, so long as the new COPPA regulations don't interfere with any of that. But that's a whole nother issue I may have to get into in another video. Let me know if you guys would like to hear me talk about that. Anyways, I should probably quit rambling and actually start talking about what this video is about. Cream and Spooky's House of Terrors. About 2 months ago, I asked you guys to submit your questions about the series, and now I'm finally getting around to answering them. Again, I know it's taken a while, but better late than never, am I right? I'm also going to be working on that animated short with Cream and Spooky that I mentioned a while ago. It should be released either early January or late December, so if you were wondering about whatever happened to that project, fear not, it's definitely coming. But anyways, back to your questions. I'm going to be answering these in order from most popular to least popular, and I'm going to do my best to answer as many questions as possible. Keep in mind that I won't be answering any questions that will give away too many spoilers, though. And because I got a ton of questions, this means I'm not going to script most of the video beyond this point. So if I stutter 30 times in a row, I apologize in advance. But yeah, without further ado, since you guys have waited long enough for this, let's just get straight into it. So, the first question is, does Spooky have a crush on Cream? Or does Cream have a crush on Spooky? Or do they not feel anything towards each other? And part of me is surprised that this is such a popular question, but part of me also isn't, but, how to answer this without giving away too much? Well, I mean, the two are very close. I mean, it could go in either direction. I'm not sure yet. Or, well, I'm sure, but you guys don't get to know until a little later into the series, but, there are definitely, like, love interests in the series, and, I don't know, I mean, maybe the ship will sail, maybe it won't, but, we'll see. We'll talk about that later. Next question is, why did Cream's two legs leave her behind? Did they intend to, or was it an accident? And I'm gonna say this right now. This doesn't really get a clear answer. I mean, it's really up to the viewer's interpretation because, I guess I'll partially be answering this a little later on because this, like, ties into some of the themes of this story as a whole. But I personally would say it was intentional, but honestly, there's no clear answer. I mean, I could change my mind. Like, it's not crucial to the story in any way. I mean, Cream's backstory is only really talked about for, like, one episode, and yeah, I mean, it's up to interpretation. Like, however you want to see it, whatever, like, you personally think or believe, like, you guys can theorize about it. It's whatever. And who was the brown cat in Roads Untraveled, and why did he betray Cream? Oh my goodness, all of these questions that, like, I don't want to give away spoilers already. Well, the brown cat in Roads Untraveled was, Cream's really good friend, while she was alive. I'm not gonna give the name away, but I guess when I'm actually, like, when the series actually gets released, it'll be obvious, like, who he is, but, the reason why he betrayed Cream, this is actually, like, really different than how it actually happens in the series. Sorry, guys, just gonna say that right now, because I didn't want to give away too much, but part of it is just, you know, some people, it's kind of based off of some experiences that I've had, where it's, like, sometimes people just grow apart. It can either be a result of, like, discovering someone's maybe not that good and you want to distance yourself, or they're not that good, so they're distancing themselves from you, and, like, you don't know what's going on. I don't know if that really makes sense. My idea is just that they kind of, like, unintentionally, maybe intentionally on someone's part, grow apart, and it ends up with, like, getting, like, all dramatic, whatever, all these confrontations, blah, 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 and then, of course, Cream gets upset, whatever, goes away. And, yeah, sorry, I'm, like, I hope that's explained well. I mean, again, I'm, like, trying not to give away too many spoilers, but, yeah. And the next question is, how old are Cream and Spooks? Well, this actually changes a lot. As I get older, I kind of change them so they get older with me. But, in human years, I would say that, like, or sorry, cat years, not human years, oh my goodness. Spooky would be, like, old, but, Spooky would be, like, 15 in cat years, so he's, like, a teenager, obviously. And Cream is about 17. Again, that might change a little bit, like, before, I'm pretty sure Spooky was, like, 13 or 14, and Cream was, like, 16, but right now, it's been at 15 and 17 for, like, a while, so I think it's gonna stick like that, unless, I don't know. Moving on, why was Spooky in a cage in a car in Roads Untraveled? What happened to his owners? Did he ever have owners, or was he just always a stray? Well, he's just in one of those, little cat traveling carriers, like, you know, like, the little cage, where it's like, if you're taking your cat, you have to put them somewhere, or else they're just gonna freak the hell out. So, that part, because, I'm okay with getting into Spooky's backstory. It's, like, really not as, like, complex as Cream's. So basically, Spooky, he has had owners, but the idea is that he actually doesn't like humans because, and Cream doesn't like humans either, which is, like, again, a theme of the story. So Spooky doesn't like humans because when he was young, you know, they take away kittens at, like, maybe, like, 8-9 weeks usually. So he was young, he was taken away from his mother, and then he had this set of owners, but then they decided that they didn't want him, so then they gave him away, and then those owners were like, oh, actually, maybe this isn't for us, and it was just, like, this chain of, like, him, not really having a true home. So he was never really a stray, just had, like, a really unlucky past with, people, like, getting him, being like, oh, wait, never mind. I mean, also, I kind of like that idea, because it's like, he's a black cat, so, and you know how black cats aren't really as wanted, which is sad, but yeah, that kind of ties into it too. Wow, we're already 8 minutes into this. Anyways, what was the inspiration for Cream and Spooky? What was the original storyline, and why were you so devoted to it? There were a lot of inspirations for Cream and Spooky. The main inspiration, the thing that actually made me, decide this is what I want to create, was actually Star vs. the Forces of Evil, because that show, like, really, really meant a lot to me at the time, and I was, like, researching it, and I think I heard something about it taking 5 years, and how it was inspired by, like, Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that, and then I was like, 5 years? Like, I want to see how long it would take me to create a series, and, well, it's been 4.5 years, so, I mean, I guess I'm getting pretty close to 5 years. Wow, time flies. So that was, like, the main inspiration, but a lot of other things that have since inspired the show have been, Gravity Falls, I would say Steven Universe a little bit. There's a lot that's surprisingly inspired by Hamilton the musical. What else? I mean, I can't really remember fully off the top of my head, but I'll say that those are, like, some of the main inspirations. I mean, a lot of it's also kind of just been, like, whatever. But the reason why they're, ghosts is, like, I actually don't think this question was, like asked elsewhere, so I'm just gonna answer it now. So this is, like, what inspired, like, the ghost element, is when I was younger, I actually used to be, like, really, 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 really scared of ghosts. So I was always thinking about them, and I don't know, for some reason, like, because they're just, like, always on my mind, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make a story about ghosts, because, like, ghosts are cool in the concept, I mean, even though I was scared of them. And it actually helped me get over my fear of ghosts, which was, like, you know, kind of cool, but, yeah. And what was the original storyline, and why were you so devoted to it? The original storyline was, like, it was originally just gonna be one of those shows where, like, what was it? Like, you know, like, let's say the Fairly Odd Parents, that's probably not a good example, but where it's, like, you have these characters, then there's a problem introduced, then, like, they're doing whatever, then there's a problem introduced, and then whatever happens, and then there's this climax, and then it ends, and then by the next episode, everything kind of resets and goes back to how it was. So, it was originally going to be like that, but then I found myself struggling to come up with episode ideas because, there's just not much to do when it's like, I mean, there is much to do, but at the time, like, I hadn't created, like, every single aspect of their world, but, like, I just didn't think that would be interesting enough, so then I was, like, looking at shows that I really like Gravity Falls has been my favorite show for, like, 5 years now, and I was like, what makes me love this show? And then I was thinking, oh, like, the mystery, like, that's what gets people coming back for more, and so I was like, you wanna know what? I'm gonna make this a mystery show about ghosts. It's gonna be so cool because, ghosts are, like, already, like, paranormal themselves, and, like, people are like, ooh, like, ghosts, like, what's the mystery behind ghosts? And I'm like, what if it's, like, ghosts, like, and, like, there's, like, this mystery around their world? Like, I don't know. I thought it'd be a cool concept. I do think it's a cool concept. I think that the story's really interesting. And, yeah, so this, yeah. Hope that answers things well enough. I kind of went on a lot with that question. So, next question, how long has Cream been dead for? It was originally that she'd been dead for 50 years before Spooky is introduced into the story, but I thought that was a little long, so a few months ago I actually changed it to 10 years. So she's been dead and just chilling for 10 years, so, you know, she's just vibing. And this is a question I get a lot. What are the pink marks that show up on Cream after she becomes a ghost? And I'm really sorry, you guys are probably going to be really disappointed, but the main reason why I had them in Roads Untraveled was so you could easily tell when she was alive and when she was dead, because obviously starts off she's dead and then her backstory and then she's alive again, so like I kind of wanted to make that clear. But also, as I showed a little bit in the trailer, ghosts do have the ability to alter their appearances. Sometimes it can be more extreme, but ghosts, like, I just imagine that, like, she was just like, she just added some pink to herself. She's like, oh, like, you know, this looks pretty cool and this fits my personality, so I'm just gonna go with it. That's personally what I imagine. So, you know, it's like when you go to the hair salon and you dye your hair and you're like some crazy color and you're like, oh, this actually looks kind of cool. It just fits her outgoing personality, in my opinion. So, yeah. Question: When will the House of Terror show come out? This is a really hard question to answer because originally, like, when I first created it 4.5 years ago, I was like, this will come out in, like, 2017 or 2018. And then I was like, no, it's gonna come out 2019. And then it's like, no, 2020. And, like, at this point, I don't know. I'm probably gonna say, at the earliest, late 2020. Like, I'm still figuring out what direction I want to go with this show, like, what I need to do in order to, like, go, like, where I'd like to go with the show. I would say at the absolute earliest, late 2020. But it'll probably be more like 2021. Maybe going on 2022, which is like a long time, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, over the next few months, maybe in the next few weeks, I'll definitely be able to have a better answer to this. At the moment, I don't know. Sorry. So, next question, is there an antagonist of the story? Yes, there are many crucial villains who all have, like, big parts to play in the series. I didn't really show them in the trailer because, I don't know why. I just thought it would be, like, kind of, like, difficult? I don't know. But there are a lot of villains. I think there's about 6 or 5 that have, like, a big impact on the series, and you know what, I actually, like, love them all. I made sure I could, like, give them, like, really complex backstories, motives, and all that kind of stuff, so yeah, I'm not gonna get too much into it, but they're pretty cool. I like them a lot, and hopefully you guys will as well. I'm just realizing I'm actually probably gonna have to, like, start answering these faster. Like, I know I wanted this to be a long video, but, like, I'm not even, like, close to halfway through the questions, and we're already at, like, 15 minutes, so sorry if I'm, like, a little more vague. I mean, I'm trying, okay? This was originally supposed to be a live stream, okay? But, yeah, so next question, is Spooky gonna get the special markings like Cream has at some point? And as I kind of said, the reason why, like, Cream has those markings is because it kind of fits with her, like, really outgoing, kind of, like, spontaneous colorful personality. Spooky's definitely like a lot more mellow. The reason why he's just a pure black cat is he's supposed to be like, oh, like the typical kind of scaredy cat that you see in those like Halloween, like poorly drawn clip art things, but so probably not. I mean, again, we'll like see where it goes because Spooky does become more confident later on in the series. So maybe he would be like, I can rock this look, but at the moment there are no plans for that. But Cream can like kind of like transform into like, I only showed this for like a few seconds in the trailer. She can transform into like this bigger, more powerful kind of like version of herself that has extra powers, which I didn't get into, and I'll probably get into just like when the episodes come out. Spooky, that's like really hard to learn. So Spooky spends a lot of the series trying to learn how to do that. It's kind of like one of his like biggest like kind of goals. So he may be able to do that. Like, if that makes sense. I mean, he works to like, he may get special markings or like powers like Cream at like other points in the series. If that makes sense. Sorry, I'm like, this is why I need a script, but there's like 60 questions, so no, I couldn't do that. Anyways, how frequently will the episodes come out? This like really depends on like so many factors because it really depends on like where the show goes, like who I have working on it with me, that kind of stuff. But ideally I would like once a week or something, or like once every 2 weeks, I think is a good time to like help build up suspense. I'm not sure. I mean, depending on like where the show goes, it could be like once a month, once every 2 months, which is like not ideal, but again, it really all depends. I'm gonna aim for once every 2 weeks personally, but it can change. Again, there'll be more information on that in the coming weeks. So yeah, do you have any plans for new characters interacting with them? And yes, of course, as I said, there are going to be many villains that get in their way, have these motives, whatever, and they have to like work on like combating them. But there's also going to be a lot of friends in the show. Definitely more friends than enemies. I only got to show these guys for like literally 3 seconds in the trailer, but Cream and Spooky become like really close friends with a sand cat named Max and a fennec fox with 3 eyes named Katie. And they're kind of like their buddies in the cryptic universe, so they like to go on like these really cool kind of like adventures together and like these weird, unknown, freaky lands, and it's really fun for sure. There's also some other kind of like acquaintances or some other good kind of more minor characters that I'm not going to get as into because, like, I don't have time. Also, potential spoilers, but yeah, there's probably, like, I'll say, like, 20 reoccurring characters, including Cream and Spooky. Or maybe that's high, maybe it's more like 15. Like, I'm just guessing off the top of my head. So, the next question is, what kind of powers can spirits have? Like, can they control elements, or do they just have basic magic? And, as stated in the trailer, each ghost gets access to a basic set of powers. And, yeah, so these powers can basically be, the power to create visual illusions that even mortals can see, the ability of telekinesis, the ability to perform magic and spells, and the ability to live forever so long as, like, under certain conditions, which we'll get into later in the series. But there are definitely some more advanced powers, like Cream's ability to completely transform her own body and like get an extra set of special powers is not something that every ghost can do. It's something that like it's like her own kind of signature power. So ghosts can get signature powers, which is like they specifically work on and like craft themselves, which is like if you find another ghost that can do that, it's like typically the one ghost will have trained the other, or it'll be like just a really, really, really rare coincidence. There's also like a lot of magic and spells in the series, but like there's also some black magic too, which is like bad, but it can also be learned. It's more like kind of like undercover secret stuff that like villains mainly get to know, but like yeah, so there's like definitely like a lot of stuff revolving around powers and magic, and I'm just gonna like go on to the next question before I just talk myself into a hole here. Anyways, so what are Cream and Spooky's sexualities? And I don't know. This is something I haven't put like a lot of thought into. I mean, I would say that Spooky is probably straight. Maybe he's like bisexual. I really don't know. And I've honestly like never thought of Cream's sexuality like at all. I would probably say she's like definitely bisexual, maybe pansexual, but who knows. Anyways, next question. How did you come up with their designs? And as I kind of briefly said, Spooky was kind of inspired by the typical kind of like Halloween scaredy cat kind of clip art, because it's kind of what he is. He's kind of like pretty scared a lot of the time. And he's more kind of like caught up with like scary stuff than Cream is. So that's kind of the inspiration for him, just like your typical scared kind of black cat. It's also why I named him that. And then Cream, I don't actually remember because I designed her 4.5 years ago. I know I wanted to like make her kind of like cutesy and like fluffy and that kind of stuff. And I thought the pink and the blue looked really cool, like as a contrast kind of thing. I wanted to I wanted it to look like she was like really outgoing and like out there, which I think I accomplished. But yeah, it's been so long, that's really all I can remember. I'm sorry. So, next question. When did you first create Cream and Spooky? Why? Which did you think of first? And did you have any other plans for them before you stuck with this? So, as I said, 4.5 years ago, June 20, whatever. When did you first create Cream and Spooky? What should you think of first? And did you have other plans for them before you stuck with this? Well, as I said, I created them 4.5 years ago. Again, time really flies. I was literally 12 years old. I don't remember who I thought of first. I think I know I was sitting in bed when I first thought of them, because after like hearing about Star Wars vs. the Forces of Evil, I was like, I want to come up with something like right now. So I thought of them like right then and there. I think I thought of them at the same time. And did I have any other plans for them before you stuck with this? Again, the story was like, there wasn't much of a story before. Like there weren't, like it was a lot more simple. So that was the original reduction, but my mom is an author, so she was like, Chloe, nobody's gonna care about that. And I was like, okay, fine, you're right. So I changed it to be like more kind of like mystery based. But I always wanted them to be like an animated series, so that has like never changed. Next question, will the series be fully animated or have more of a PMV style to it? It will definitely be fully animated. Whether it's gonna be like rigged animation, or like partially tweened, kind of like the trailer, is like not known yet. I mean, I know that traditional animation is kind of dying off when it comes to TV shows. Like a lot of series that still use like traditional animation kind of, if I'm gonna be honest, don't really look that good in my opinion compared to the shows like Hilda, which are rigged. But it will be fully animated. Which style, I don't know yet. So, next question, who is the main character? The trailer tells me it's Spooky, but it could be both, or Cream could be the main character. They're both the main characters. I mean, it's in the name, Cream and Spooky's House of Terrors. Spooky is the kind of character who pushes more of the mysterious elements. Like, he's definitely more involved with that aspects of the story. Like, he's like more concerned with the mysteries. Like, he wants to tie everything together. And Cream definitely pushes some more of the fun elements of the show. Like, she's all about adventure and like having fun and like going out and doing stuff. But she also does care about the mysteries. Just they're both very important and they both work together like a lot of the time. But Spooky's more kind of pushing the mystery, Cream's more pushing the fun side. Next question, how did Spooky impact Cream's life? And was it life-changing when Cream entered Spooky's life? They changed each other's lives a lot, because before Spooky found Cream, he always felt that he was just unwanted, because imagine you're just like constantly being traded amongst people. That would probably really destroy your self-confidence, and Cream was alone until Spooky entered her life. And so they're both like really, really important to each other. Like, Cream helps boost up Spooky's confidence, helps him like feel better about himself, and like Spooky is there to like help Cream like not feel lonely anymore, helps her with like her struggles. And again, I would get in more into this, but I think you guys kind of get the point already, plus I'm like running out of time. But they both really help each other a lot with their struggles, and they're both always there for each other, and they're just like really close. So it was life-changing for both of them. Next question. In the description of the trailer, you said that the show would have a thematic resonance with older audiences despite its marketing towards children. Can you give an example of the themes / messages that will be explored that you are referencing without spoilers? And this is a little difficult to get into without spoilers, but a lot of it, kind of like, as I was saying with like Kareem and Spooky disliking humans, a lot of it is kind of like mistreatment of animals, but I would say even bigger than that is the theme of moving on and forgiveness, because I know that there are like a lot of people who just get bent up over things in the past, or they're just living in the past, like I could have been this, like I should have done this, or like why didn't this happen, or oh, this person wronged me how long ago, and I still have to like whatever get at them. But the idea is that if you just live in the past, like there's a point where like you just have to let go sometimes. Like sometimes life isn't fair and you can't like stay caught up in these moments. Like sometimes the only way to be happy is you just have to move on. Like you can't always get back at people. You can't always fix things that happened. And the only way that you can be happy is to go forward. So that is probably the biggest theme in the series that's like always recurring. So I'm pretty excited to like display that in the series. I think that it's like the show gets pretty emotional, but yeah, there's some other kind of smaller things, but I won't get too much into it because like I don't want to give away too much. But yeah, that's like the biggest part of the story. So next question, definitely not as like intense as the last one, which is, does Spooky like candy corn? I would say probably not. I would say Cream would be more likely to like candy corn because like all that sugar, and you know, she's like kind of whack. But yeah, so next question, what happens to Cream after the fire in your PMV? She dies. Yeah, she dies, and then she happens to be by the mansion, so she goes there and she like kind of waits for stuff to happen, blah blah blah, and then Spooky happens to die by that same mansion and they meet each other. So yep. Next question, will Cream's old owners ever appear in the show, even if it's just for one episode? Probably not. I mean, there's that one episode that deals with her backstory, which would probably have them as like a little kind of a cameo, but I don't think that they'll ever like have like a big appearance in the show because, I mean, they're not dead. I mean, I would imagine they're not dead. And, yeah, I don't think so. Next question. Any interesting characters that didn't appear in the trailer? Well, the villains are all very interesting in my opinion. I have some other characters. Well, there's a lot of characters that I think that all of the characters are interesting. And most of them did not make it in the trailer. I tried to showcase Max, the Sand Cat, and Katie, the Fennec Fox, for like a few seconds. And like, they didn't really make it in for that long. So yeah, I mean, most of the characters didn't appear, but there's definitely going to be a lot more characters, so definitely be excited for that. Is the show too scary? You did mention it's for ages 8 and up, but how scary is it exactly? Does it get too dark? I have a little sister who I think would love it, but she might get too scared. And this is a good question because, honestly, I've always been like kind of like a dark-minded kid, so like, I think I watched like Feliday or something when I was like 7 or 8 and I like really liked it, which is like obviously cats getting like gutted and like beheaded and stuff like that, but there are definitely some like very dark themes and some very dark things that do happen to many characters. Some of like a lot of these things like affecting like there are some characters that do have PTSD. But I've definitely tried to censor a lot of these dark themes for like so younger audiences can still enjoy it. The way I've tried to write it into the story is it's like let's see, like there's like There's this, okay, I'm gonna use an example from the Steven Universe episode that I saw a while ago. And it was like with all these forced fusions, and then Garnet looks like horrified, and she's like, oh, these are like forced to like fuse together, blah blah blah. And a kid who's watching that might not get the depth of that scene. Like, they might just be like, oh, haha, yeah, that's kind of like messed up, and then like not think about it. But if you're older, you might like really kind of think about like actually how horrifying and horrible and like torturous that would be. So the idea that I've kind of like, I've tried to have it where it's like you see what's happening, but the way it is like the more serious or like gruesome or disturbing elements would hopefully pass over like a kid's head, and then like maybe the older kind of people would like be able to truly analyze this and be like, wow, this is actually really disgusting and horrible. Whereas like maybe some, like, I'm hoping that kids might not, it's a lot about like kind of like showing but in more subtle ways, and then like older audiences can like kind of piece it together. I'm not gonna try and make it like nothing like very gruesome will happen on screen, but if you're paying attention, you'll definitely like understand the weight and the depth of the situation, which I think if you're really thinking about it can kind of be like a bit of a psychological horror. Anyways, continuing on, do people also join the crazy afterlife described in the trailer? And yes, humans do go to the afterlife in this series, except the way it is like Ghost Central, which is like the little area that Cream and Spooky went before they went to the Cryptic Universe, which had like the ghost crystal and stuff like that, is like, that's only for ghost cats. But then the Cryptic Universe is like all kinds of animals except for humans. So like certain areas only specific ghosts can go to. So humans don't really get to go to the afterlife in from like what we see. They do have their own afterlife that they do get to go to. They just don't get to go to the ones that are like seen in the series. But there are ghost humans in the series at some point, with a little bit of like, you know, can't get into it, almost spoiled it. Anyways, moving on so I don't spoil anything. Why did he choose the names for them? I don't know. I thought Cream and Spooky like rolls off the tongue like really nicely. Spooky because he's supposed to be based off of like, you know, those kinds of like clip art kind of Halloween cats, like, oh, Halloween, spooky. So they're spooky. He's a little black cat. Cream, it's because she's like mainly cream colored, and cream is sweet, like the sweet substance, whatever. And I just thought it was fitting with like her kind of like outgoing, fun personality. So yeah, next question, is Cream blind? She seems to be the only one with white pupils, or is it a style choice? If it's a style choice, then it looks fantastic on Cream. And yes, this is just a style choice. She is definitely not blind. The thing is, when I was 12 and on DeviantArt, there were like a lot of adoptables that kind of had like similar kind of like pupils, with like the white pupil with like a little thing surrounding it. So that kind of, and because I was like on DeviantArt a lot back then, that's what inspired that element of her design. Also, for some reason, like almost every character has like different shaped eyes, that kind of stuff, or like different styled eyes. Like you can even see how Spookies and Creams are like different. But yeah, so it's just a style choice. Next question, how long do you expect the series to be? And I have about 40 episodes planned that are 20 minutes each, some of these episodes being like a little longer because they're specials or finales. And so if we do the math here, if they're all just 20 minutes each, not including like the specials, that's about 13 hours worth of content. So it'll definitely be quite long. I predict it'll probably be running for a few years. Next question, what are Cream and Spooky's favorite types of chocolate? Spooky would probably like dark chocolate. He'll be like, yes, this is the healthiest one, and he would like that. Plus he's kind of bland, not gonna lie. Okay, well, not bland as a character, but like, you get what I mean, okay? He's more like chill compared to Cream, and I feel like Cream would probably, I don't know. She's kind of based off of me, and like my favorite is orange chocolate, but I feel like she would probably like a mixture of like white chocolate and milk chocolate, or fudge or something like that. It's just something that's like really crazy and sweet. But yes, next question. Will the basement be a major turning point for their cure for the curse? And I'm not sure what specific curse you're referring to, but the basement is a major, huge turning point for the series. It changes their their whole direction for the series temporarily. Like, everything is like this, and then suddenly they discover that, and then everything's like, whoa. That's when things take a darker turn for sure. So it's definitely a huge turning point in the series, but I cannot get into it, as you guys know. So, next question. Is there a reason you kept these characters hidden? Yes, because I didn't know where I wanted to go with this series, and there are a lot of, like, really great ideas that I see. I'm not going to name specific ones, but I noticed that when they're, like, revealing all of this stuff about their characters in PMVs and everything, they're just giving way too much. I wanted to make sure that by restricting myself from showing these characters to anyone, not even like my friends, that there would be no way I could give away the series, that there'd be no way, like, and they're obviously changing a lot, so I don't want to introduce this and then suddenly, oh, it's changed, whatever. I just wanted to, like, I was just really serious about this, so I wanted to make sure I could make it the best it could be, and I'm still working on it. Like, I'm still making some changes, but, yeah, that's the main reason why. Next question. Is there going to be a prequel series with more about how Cream and Spooky died, or will it just be the Haunted Mansion in the Dream World? And there was no prequel series planned, but that's actually a really good idea, because, like, I might actually have a prequel series, because, while the main episodes are in production, or, like, because obviously, if the show comes out 2020 or something, that's gonna be, like, a long time with, like, no content about them. A little prequel series with maybe, like, 2 or 3 minute episodes would be a good idea to kind of, like, keep you guys kind of, like, occupied, keep you guys updated, make sure that it's, like, it's not forgotten. So that is definitely an idea. I'd have to, like, this idea has been suggested to me before by, like, people in my private life. So I will definitely consider that. I think it would be a really good idea. So who knows? Maybe I'll be able to tell you more in the coming weeks. Next question. Got any mythical creatures in there, or your own design monsters? Both. There are definitely some of my own design monsters that are, like, based off of mythical creatures, but there's also just a lot that's just, like, completely inspired by, like, random things in my imagination. So, yeah, I mean, yes to both. Next question. Why does Cream wear a collar? And it was given to her and by her owners, and she probably would have, like, taken it off in the afterlife, or, like, gotten rid of it in the afterlife, but I imagine she thinks it fits her personality. She thinks it just looks cool, so that's the only reason she's kept it, because obviously she doesn't like humans. But I would have to agree with Cream's choice there, because I do think it looks like a very cool collar. Next question. How many alternate universes are there? In the first, and, like, the main series, like, the first 2 seasons, there's only about, like, 3 that are really traveled to, but there's definitely, like, a lot more that, if the show were to go on past this 2 seasons I have planned, that I would definitely introduce. Like, there's no set number. I mean, I would imagine it could just be, like, it could just go on and on, but, yeah, I would say 3 for the main 2 series. Main 2 seasons, sorry. Next question. What is the glowing green crystal used for, and why is it so vital to the series? Well, it contains, like, all of, like, it's the reason why ghosts can, like, continue to live on in the afterlife, or ghost cats anyways. And, it just contains, like, all of, like, it's just so powerful. It contains, like, all of, like, the, magical powers and stuff necessary to, like, keep their whole world running, like, keep them alive, that kind of stuff. And I don't know how to explain it that well. I mean, it's obvious. Like, I mean, if it were to break, then everybody would probably just, like, fade away and die. So that's why it's vital. But moving on. Is the human from the poster and trailer a big part of the series? Does he have a name? He's in one episode, but he's not, like, huge. Like, he doesn't really return a lot, and he does not have a name. I'm very sorry to tell you. Next question. Did the monsters in the other realm used to be normal animals like Cream and Spooky were? Some were, like, even though, like, I guess Katie the fox has, like, a third eye and can be, like, considered, like, a monster. She was actually, like, a fennec fox in, like, her real life, but some of them, like, some of the more, like, wacky kind of creatures, which I didn't get to show, nobody really knows where they came from. I mean, the cryptic universe is like a weird place. Kind of like, so like the theory for them anyways is that they've always kind of just existed there and like they're a wacky little universe. So yeah, it depends. Some did, some didn't, whatever. Next question, how did their personalities and or character arcs change over the creation process? Oh my goodness, this is like really hard to answer because again, I made so much of this so long ago. Spooky was like originally like more confident-ish, I think. I've definitely made him more of a scaredy cat, I know that for sure. And Cream, over time, I realized slowly became more and more based off of me. But she was always like really outgoing, but then she became more like me, which was like really interesting in my opinion. So that's mainly how they've changed. Again, it's so long I can't fully remember, I'm really sorry, but moving on. Are you animating this all by yourself? If not, who are your animating partners? And no, I'm definitely not animating this all by myself. I am in the process of looking for a team of people to help me work on this. Which direction I'm gonna go with this, like, I can't specifically reveal yet. Because I don't fully know yet, but I also don't want to, like, reveal the options I'm looking at right now. But, yeah, it's definitely not gonna be all by myself. And, like, how big the team I'm working on is, like, how big my team is, like, how professional, that kind of stuff will definitely impact, like, the episode, like, how often episodes are released, like, where they're released, all that kind of stuff, so, yeah. Next question, is there any weird stuff that happens on Halloween or during full moons, eclipses, and blue moons? Not specifically, but I do have a cute little Halloween episode planned out, which I think is fun, but, I don't know, maybe it's a cool idea that, like, some weird stuff can happen on, like, eclipses and stuff, but nothing of that is specifically planned in the series as of now, so. Next question. Where did you get the idea of magical cats who could travel to different dimensions? Did you have any main inspirations? A lot of this was kind of, like, I've always loved magic and, like, kind of weird stuff, so I feel like I inspired a lot, like, I feel like a lot of that was just kind of inspired by my own kind of, like, mind. I mean, again, like, a lot of, like, there are, like, a lot of shows and stuff, like, Gravity Falls, Starburst of the Force of Evil, Steven Universe, even Adventure Time that, like, have, like, a lot of, like, magical elements, too, that I definitely, like, looked at for inspiration as well, but, yeah, a lot of it, I think, was kind of just, like, on me, but, yeah. Continuing, is any character part of the LGBT community, or at least might be? Well, I said Spooky might be, though I do honestly think he's most likely straight. I mean, haven't really, like, put much thought into it. Cream, I would say, is LGBT. There's a lesbian pair in the series, but they're kind of more, like, background characters, and it's kind of like, are they in a relationship? Are they not? Like, they seem to think fondly of each other, but, like, or are they just, like, friends? So, like, there's kind of, like, that situation with some of the characters, but, yeah. And why do humans call Spooky Spooky? Well, that's just his name. I mean, again, he's, like, a little black cat, and I thought Spooky would be, like, a cute name that a human would give him. Few people commented, like, oh, I had a black cat named Spooky, so I feel like it's a realistic name for a human to give a black cat, but yeah, that's just why. It's just his name. What breed of cat are they? Well, Spooky is just a Bombay cat, so nothing too interesting there. I would say that Cream is probably more like a Norwegian fairy cat or something, because, like, I've always really loved those cats, like, when I was younger. That was, like, my favorite breed of cat, despite never having one, or probably seeing one in my real life ever. So, I would imagine that, like, since I made them at, like, 12, that would probably be Cream's breed, but, yeah. Next question. I know I'm late, but do the characters or the story have any personal symbolism to you? And as I said, Cream, the more I, like, created, like, worked on this story, like, the more I realized that Cream was a lot like me in a lot of aspects. There's, like, a lot of things that I feel like that happened in the story that I'm like, oh, if I were in this situation, like, I would kind of do the same thing that Cream did, like, that kind of stuff. And So yeah, Cream is just definitely like a lot like me in a lot of ways. And going back to like some of the themes that I talked about, like the theme of like forgiveness, and if you even can't have it in you to forgive, that like you just have to move on at some point. I feel like there's like a lot of people in my personal life who suffer from this kind of stuff. Like, I don't want to get too much into it, but I feel like I know a lot of people who could use that, maybe not like use that kind of advice, like, well, they can live by that kind of way or like use that kind of advice, but if you were to tell them, they wouldn't listen. But I feel like there's like a lot of people that I personally know, and a lot of people will know that live like that, and like I feel like that's not really living. So that's definitely like something that I deal with a lot. I'm like definitely surrounded by a lot of those people. Even at some point I think I was kind of like that, and once you just kind of like learn to move on, it can just like change your life in so many ways. So I would say that kind of has some personal symbolism to me. There's some other stuff that like I can't fully remember at the moment because like there's so much, like even the planning papers for this on like my Google Docs are like over 40 pages. But yeah. Moving on. Is there some sort of leader in the ghost realm, or is it all just one big community and everyone just hangs out there? Yes and no. The way it originally is, or the way it is for like a lot of the series, is everybody just kind of hangs out and it's chill, that kind of stuff, but there is a character that like wants to lead, like wants to take control. He's kind of like, I'm actually not going to get into it because like, I don't know. He's like very, very, very powerful. And he wants to take control, and he's like kind of like manipulating people and that kind of stuff. So he tries to assume leadership, and that's a big conflict in the series. But yeah, so yes and no to that one. Next question. So in this series, do you mostly intend to focus on one of the settings, house or afterlife, or will we see a pretty constant back and forth? And will we get mostly mystery vibes in the house while afterlife is all happy and such? It's definitely gonna switch like back and forth a lot because like it just depends on like what they're doing, because there's like mysteries in the house, but there's also like a lot of like mysteries in the afterlife or the cryptic universe and that kind of stuff that definitely even tie back to the house. So it's like this big kind of like thing where like almost everything is connected in a way. So it really depends. Like, they have fun times in the house, they have fun times in the afterlife, but they also have mysterious moments in the house and mysterious moments in the afterlife. It just depends. Like, so there is a lot of back and forth, and yeah. Next question, who are the foxes / wolves in the trailer? I believe you are talking about Katie, the fennec fox, and Max, the sand cat, who we only saw the back of for one shot. And yeah, as I said, there's kind of like Cream and Spooky's buddies in the cryptic universe, and they hang out. Also, this is something else that like they only hang out in the cryptic universe because the way it is like in the normal after like if you're like a ghost and you're on Earth, like you can only see other ghosts of like your own species unless some sort of specific like kind of like black magic thing is involved. So they can only actually like really get together in like the cryptic universe and other realms like that. So yeah, next question. And the final question actually. What did Cream think of her owners, and what did Spooky think of some of his owners before things went down? Well, Cream had a very happy life in the house until, of course, she was abandoned. So she definitely thought highly of her owners until after that, which is like the reason why she hates humans. She's like, oh, they're all just like no good, they'll just betray you, blah blah blah. Spooky, I don't think he ever liked humans. I mean, they took him away from his mother when he was just a little baby, and then he never even got to be attached to anyone. So I would think that he has, and it's like that's the main reason why he's like so insecure and like scared of stuff. It's because of that. So I don't think he would have ever liked any of his owners. It's why he ran away. Like the cage opened a little bit, and as they pulled over the car, and he like was like, I'm out of here. And then of course he got hit by a truck and died. So yeah, he was like, no, not even giving this a chance. But yeah, so wow, that was a lot. over 50 questions answered in one video, and there were some I had to leave out due to spoilers, which is like crazy. Honestly, it means a lot to me that you guys seem to be so interested in this project. I have huge plans for the series, and I really hope it'll be able to live up to your expectations. I really can't wait to see where it goes. If you guys are interested in getting some exclusive updates on the project and some of my other animations, consider pledging to me on Patreon for just $1 a month. And yeah, anyways, that's all for now. Let me know if you guys would ever be interested in like any kind of like merch or anything. Like, I'm considering like selling posters of these and like the Cryptic Universe poster when it comes out, when I get to it. So let me know if that would interest you guys. And yeah, again, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope it was worth the long wait. This is definitely a very long video, much longer than I thought it would be, so hopefully you guys are like, hi, yes, this makes up for all of the missing content over the weeks. But yeah, that's all for now. See you guys in the next one. Bye!